As an Android developer, looking at code for an existing app is a critical skill to develop. If you join a team in the future, it's likely that you would work on an existing app instead of creating one from scratch. Some Android projects may have hundreds of files, and you may not have time to read through all of them. However, you can still get a high-level idea by looking at the file names, then looking closer at the files related to the work you need to do. So in this case, we currently have a small project. So in the quiz, we asked you to look at each file. And let's do that now together. So I'm going to start off by going over here to the project, changing this to the project view. And when I look at a code base for the first time, I expand out the Java folder where all the logic of the app is. Then I head over and expand out the resource folder, which has everything related to the appearance of the app. In the Java folder, we have one Java file called main activity. And it turns out that main activity is the main screen of our app. Now we can move onto the app resource files located in the app/source/main/res directory. These files control how the app appears on different devices. Resources can include XML files, images, and other media files. We can start by expanding out the layout folder. Here we have the activity_main.xml file. This file defines the layout for the main screen of our app, and it contains a vertical linear layout with 4 text views. Then we have our bitmap folder, which is a special folder just for the app icon. Other images in your app should go in the drawable folder. Then we have the values folder. This contains the colors.xml file, which defines the colors of our app, the app theme colors, and the color associated with each category of the words. Next we have the dimensions.xml file, which contains dimensions such as the width and height values for our app. It also contains the list item height, which we've here set to be 88 dp. Moving down we have the strings.xml file. These are all the text strings that will appear to the user in the app, and we put them in a single file so that we can easily translate the app into other languages. And lastly, we have the styles.xml file. Here we define the theme of the app and specify the theme colors. We also have the style for how a category should look, and that's why each category on the main screen of the app looks similar in terms of height, padding, font size, and more. So now let's move to the third task of the quiz, which is to create a visual diagram of the different parts of the app. And everyone's diagram will be different, which is a good thing. So here's one example that represents the big picture of the Miwok app codebase. After reading all those files, maybe your takeaway was there are a lot of resources that determine the appearance of the app and a single Java file for the logic of the app. So here's another example of a diagram you could have drawn. We have an image of what the app looks like with the 4 categories, and you label this as the main activity.java file, with an annotation that the layout for this activity is defined in the activity_main.xml layout file. Then, the theme of the app is defined in the styles.xml file. How a category item appears is also determined by a style that is defined in the styles.xml file. The background color of the categories is defined in the colors.xml file, while the category names are defined in the strings.xml file. Lastly, the list item height is defined in the dimensions.xml file. So regardless of how you chose to create a diagram of the app, you just thought like a professional developer. And as we start to add more features, having a mental map of the app in our head will help us figure out what parts of the app we need to modify to make these new features work properly. For example, if we receive a feature request from our designer to change the layout of the main screen, we should head over to the mainActivity_.xml layout file. If the feature request is about changing the theme of the app, we should head over to the styles.xml file. And if we need to change how the app responds when you click on a view, then we should look at the logic in the mainActivity.java file.